All right, here we go. John Salley, welcome back.
Thank you again this should be my monthly seat. I'm telling you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
More people talk to me about being on the show than anything I've ever done besides basketball.
Ever done. Except for
in
basketball.
the past 5 years, people have been, people walk up to me. My Uber driver was sitting in Atlanta. He was sitting like this, and I'm driving, and I'm talking on the phone, and he turning the music up, and I'm thinking, yeah, Devon, this is for you. And he's like, so I pay attention. Cut my phone off. I said, what's up, man? Yeah, man, I watch you on Vlad, man. Me and my brother, we had some questions for Vlad. You know what I'm saying? You be keeping it real phony with him. You be keeping it real phony. And
real phony? Okay.
I was like, you mean I answer his questions? He is like, nah, because he be coming at people. He be putting them in a situation. He be talking on stuff that they're not allowed to talk about. I said, they shouldn't do interviews.
Right.
Right? If you're interviewing, right, you're giving me in view of you. He was like, oh, okay. I said, so I want to know your point of view, right? That's what you do. That's why it's so funny. The first time I was on, I know you had in your mind something you had heard or thought, but then being around me, you're like, oh. A lot of people found that out. It's a persona that they want to believe in or somebody else's interpretation of my persona that this is the only show, there's no music, there's no commercials. You can tell by body language if somebody's telling you the truth or not.
Right.
I watch the show religiously. Like, I'm going to Africa. I got a lot of acres in Africa. I meant to tell you that since the last time.
I think you said that last time. You got more since last time?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I
Stock
realized,
it up.
and I haven't been there yet. It's like I'm buying swampland. But even if it is, I don't care because it's my swampland. It's literally going to be, I'll figure out what's in the swamp. But it's not swampland. And my mentality since the last time I've been on has been even more direct. So in October, I'm going to see it. In January, I'm starting.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope, man.
Yeah, man.
Piling up on land.
Hey, man, what they say, God's not going to make any more of that.
Right. Well, since you've been on,
Yes.
the most polarizing thing that you've said was
Okay.
that Pippen is a more skilled player than Michael Jordan.
Did I say the most skilled player I played with or the most skilled player?
Most skilled player that you played with, but you've also played with Michael Jordan. So
Right. So my rebuttal to that. Michael Jordan, I go back and I watch. Michael Jordan is great. Let me get that to any and everybody watching. This is true. He is the second coming. But before him, I was in love with Dr. J. So Michael Jordan is Dr. J to people of that era. But to my era, Dr. J.
Yep.
David Thompson, Bernard King. Those are my favorites. My contemporaries, Michael Jordan. He's 2 years before me. I went to see him 1982 when I went to visit Georgia Tech. I'm like, I'm going to Georgia Tech. Been friends, frat brothers, Omega Psi Phi to the day we die, everything. It's my man's. But I talk to him as my contemporary. I don't talk to him as Jesus Christ or the God. I just don't.
Right.
And he knows that I know he's great. He knows that. He knows, but I'm gonna still, this is money. This is MJ. This is my man right here. Money, you want such, that I don't see it like other people have seen it. I've hung with him. I've played with him. I've socialized with him. We rode the GOAT. Like everything you can possibly, we know the same morals, the same jewels, the same 20 pearls. This is my guy. This is my friend. But when you watch, when you're a basketball player and you're playing against everything, and the fact that you're on YouTube, you can go on YouTube and see what Michael says about Scotty, see what Magic says about Scotty, Jack McCluskey, the general manager of the Detroit Pistons, how we thought we're just going to shut Michael down. We realized we had to shut Scotty down, right? Horace Grant, Charles Barkley. Did I mention Michael Jordan? What he said. So skilled. He plays point guard, shooting guard, small forward, big forward, and center. He can guard anybody on the court. He's Dennis Rodman. Can dribble the ball, right-handed, left-handed. The fundamentals are built into his swag. Like this is a basketball machine. You know who he's like? He's like David Robinson, who we don't mention it, right? Why we don't know. He's as smart and as crafty as Stockton. He shoots the long ball. So before Kevin Durant was stopping and shooting the long ball, it was Sam Perkins, it was Bill Laimbeer, it was Jack Sikma. But this small forward would come down, who you're thinking should go all the way to the hoop, hit you with three. If you don't guard him, oh, you guys are doubling Michael, hit you with the three. We got a problem. So in skill, picking up the triangle offense, which people say is easy, picked it up as if he designed it. So this is a basketball machine in Scottie Pippen. He is. He's the Native American black that is killing anybody on court.
Well, I interviewed Jalen Rose.
Oh, yeah, I love Jalen.
Spoke very highly of you.
Yeah, I've been with Jalen since high school.
But he has some interesting words about your opinion. I will go ahead and play it for you. Well, Michael Jordan, to the whole world, was considered the greatest of all time.
Yes.
But not in Detroit.
Correct.
That's true.
So when you got to play Michael
And
Jordan,
slightly Indiana, too.
Okay.
Those two places will boo Michael Jordan.
Right.
Because they love their team so much and bow down to his greatness, obviously.
So you got to play him on a number of occasions.
Yes.
You dunked on him?
I dunked while he was in the vicinity.
Okay, not on him directly.
I didn't physically do him like he went baseline and did Patrick Ewing.
Right.
Or nothing like that. And plus, I couldn't jump. But imagine just being a guy growing up in Detroit, and you pointed to something that's really important. The bad boys represented the city. And so I remember like seeing people like, you wearing Jordans? To the point where we would clown people for rocking Jordans. And then Uncle Chuck was like, I like Nike, but wait a minute. I was like, oh, I'm done for show now. For show. And so our bad boys let Mike and them have it now. Don't sleep. We had our years where we beat Magic, Bird, and Jordan and won back-to-back championships. So being on the floor with the GOAT, especially his final year, playing against them in the Game 7 at the United Center, we up double digits in the second quarter. Oh, we had him. And then all of a sudden, he turned into the black cat, and Scottie Pippen started stealing the ball from us, and Dennis Rodman started grabbing every rebound. Like, that's the greatest team of all time.
Hands down.
Hands down.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about who starts the game in the NBA if you watch. It's who finishes the game.
I said that.
Okay. And in the era of positionless basketball, they had Tony Kukoc, the waiter, who was 6'10", dribble, pass, and shoot, make threes, a Hall of Famer. No, I think Tony Kukoc he in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman, the greatest defender and rebounder that's not a center ever. Scottie Pippen, one of the top 50 players of all time, one of the greatest defenders of all time. And they got the GOAT, Michael Jordan. And I got to throw a name out here that people keep sleeping on. Y'all folks better Google Ron Harper, please. I don't understand why before Harp got hurt, he played with the Cavs. He hurt his knee. He was about to be on track to be in the Jordan conversation. Mm-hmm. They had him playing with them. And so, with Phil on the sideline, that squad right there.
Right, because John Salley told me that, and he's played, with Jordan and Pippen. He said that Pippen is actually a better player than Jordan.
See, the funny thing is, I think Scottie is more skilled than all of them. Scottie Pippen is probably the most skilled player I've ever played with.
Really?
Yeah. And his hands come to his shins. Okay? Standing straight up.
We got a drug test, John. And that's my big brother.
He smokes a lot of weed.
I
so
know he
you
does.
failed
I
that.
know he
You
does.
failed that drug test.
I remember when John came to the city and he bought the big mansion. I got a chance to go over there and everything. That's my big brother in the game. He helped put me on at the best damn sports show on Fox. I got a chance to work with him for years. He's vegan now. And so I understand where he's coming from. He's a very knowledgeable individual with the game. But you know what that is? I'm going to tell you what that is. I know what that is.
What is it?
Deep down in his heart, you ask him, what team do you identify with the most in your career, Sal?
Bad boys.
He's going to be like, the bad boys. So it's only right for him to feel like that about MJ. He can't help it. He can't help it.
Well, he said that he's the most skilled player he's ever played.
MJ is?
Played with. No, Pippen. Yeah, I'm looking at this clip right now. John Salley said, Pippen, not Jordan, is the most skilled player I've ever played with.
Sal needs to be drug tested. Sal, in his heart of hearts, can't believe that. And I'm going to tell you why. And again, that's my big brother. As a youngster in Detroit, when he was on the team, like, come on. Him, Isiah, Vinny, Joe, like, we got you. Mahorn, I'm little bro to them. Same thing in the media. He brought me on. I'm little bro. But he tripping. And it's because he's a member of the Bad Boys. And he elbowed Scottie Pippen, and he got a migraine, and he won the series. He elbowed Michael Jordan and ended up going to win championships with him.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go.
Jalen Rose laid it all out.
And he's 100% right.
He's 100% right.
Because, to give you an example, when I went to play with the Lakers, my brother called and I said, yeah, I'm on the squad. Because they had me going against Benoit Benjamin, but then they decided they were going to go with me. And he goes, you going to wear a yellow uniform? That's the first thing my brother asked me. Because in our brain, we're trained like you're supposed to be, like a predator. I don't like the yellow jersey. And the red and that white has to literally get a bullet. And the green and the white, I mean, that's how we looked at them. We didn't look at them like, oh, these are the great Celtics of the past. Who was ever wearing that color, it was like Predator. I mean, like Jurassic Park, the last one. You put the laser on it, I'm going to destroy that laser.
Okay.
But now going back, so in my heart of hearts, I am a bad boy, through and through. I played everywhere else, but I'm a Piston. Skilled? Oh, man. See, the deal was we had Jordan rules. So we abide by the rules. We were able to not contain Michael, but to literally focus and get them to realize we're on focus on this. Scottie being the point guard, Isiah can't. He back Isiah down. Joe is guarding Michael. Who gonna guard Scottie? Dennis? So you put Dennis out there on Scottie. Who's gonna rebound now? Like Bill Laimbeer had to trying to keep up with Horace, or if he has to play against Cartwright, Horace, like they had so many things that we had to do, and then they had the triangle. And Scottie figured out how to manipulate. Scottie, one year, we find out something about Scottie in a Game 7, and we pound it. Scottie comes up with a migraine. Because in our brain, we realize if we shut down Scottie, team's not gonna work. And we were right. We shut down Scottie. We got Jordan rules, but we need to eliminate this person without having the Purple Gang from Detroit pick him up 6 o'clock in the morning and not let him show up to the bus. We need to do, besides that, we need to shut down Scottie. And then the next year, we couldn't shut down Scottie. And that's 91, 92, 93. And Michael leaves and goes on his sabbatical. Scottie has probably the best season of his life with Tony Kukoc, but not mature enough to realize what the situation was. He didn't mentally adjust quick enough. But he had a great season. And that one flop of I'm not going back in is one mistake, but it's a highlight for Tony's life, hitting the buzzer beater. So it's a difference. But in skill, man, this guy was amazing at the skill of basketball.
Okay, but Jalen Rose is saying the reason you're saying that
Is because
you're a bad boy.
Jalen is right, and Jalen is right. Okay, Jalen's right. It's so funny, man. I told you I got punched in the stomach by Oakley for messing with Michael like that in front of Scotty, in front of Dave Chappelle and Chris Tucker. They stopped me. Did I tell you this? We're at the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
So we're at the Kentucky Derby, and Michael's right here, and Dr. J is there, but Oakley's with him, and Oakley already doesn't like me. I have no idea why. And then I found out because I used to talk a lot of smack about his clothes, right? And I said, Doug, I was joking. Like, that's what I do. Yeah, I mean, you joke too much. But I didn't know he was really that mad. So Dave Chappelle stops me. We're at the Kentucky Derby. Michael Jordan is right here. Oakley's over here. I don't see him. But usually where Michael is, Oakley is close to punching anybody in the face. So Chris Tucker and they stop me, and they go, right now, right in front of your mans, Michael or Kobe. The room is silent. And I turn, I look at Michael. He's sitting down there, and he looks up at me, and I go, Money, at 27 years old, where Kobe was at the time, he would give you the business. And out of nowhere, Oakley punches me in the stomach when I don't see him. And Vlad, he knocked all the air out of me. And Michael was like, leave him alone. Sal is crazy. He was pushing them, and everybody's laughing. And I, to this day, feel the punch. But I couldn't go down because Dr. J's behind me, and there's women everywhere, and I'm like trying to play it off. Could not breathe. Like, he really got me too. And I wasn't tense, wasn't ready for it. But I, at one time, watched Kobe literally imitate everything Michael was doing. And I mean, to the walk, to the talk. And then I see my man Stephen A. Smith tell the story how Kobe says, I told Michael, if we were in the same prime, I would bust your ass. I watched him say that. And then Stephen picked up the phone. Hey, man, young fella said, not only would he, but he bust your ass. And Michael was like, yeah, we play one-on-one. Young fella got me. But I'm older now, that whole thing. But remember that time?
Kobe played Jordan one-on-one?
Yeah.
It was a little private little thing?
It had to be. But
really? And Kobe won?
Yeah.
But Jordan was older.
I call it one-on-one because when he was a Laker and Michael's last year on the team, Kobe went for 50. They said Kobe didn't talk to anybody 3 days or a week before didn't talk to anybody.
Huh.
They thought something was wrong with him. And it's because Michael had said to him, you can imitate everything I be, you're never gonna be me or something like that. And Kobe dropped 50 on him. But he was playing for Washington and all that. Kobe went crazy, but his whole thing was, I remember when I asked him, I said, why you didn't go to Duke? Why didn't you go to college? Like, you just knew you were good enough for the pros? He said, no, I heard Michael was retiring. I wanted to play with him and against him.
Oh, that's why Kobe went straight out of high school?
Smartest thing in the world.
So he could play Jordan.
Kobe will say it. I've been trying to get people to come to you, and you got to interview Kobe. He might be gun shy now because of what he said about Shaq.
Yeah. When
he was in a relaxed situation, he thought, or something he had said before that they blew it out of proportion. So he may not do any interviews after that. But he said to me, I wanted to play Michael, and I didn't want to miss playing against Michael, especially at this time.
Is it true that in Detroit they would clown you if you wore Jordans?
Well,
is that a real
in the
thing?
City? Well, the funniest thing, I had my own sneaker, right? These crazy thing called Osagas. I think I wore Converse. I think everybody was wearing Converse. I don't even know when I started wearing Nike. I think I started wearing Nike 92, 93 maybe, when I went to Miami. I remember everybody was talking Isiah and Michael. Isiah was only upset with Michael, said try to ice him out, not going to give him the ball. None of that is real.
Well, there was a beef between Isiah and Michael.
You want to know what the beef was?
What was the beef about?
Okay, right now, exclusive on VladTV.
Let's hear it.
Isiah goes home, and his nephew is wearing a Bulls jersey, Michael Jordan Bulls jersey.
Okay.
He said, hey, what are you doing? We're in Chicago. This is my team. It's his nephew. He not really understanding that it's the great Isiah Thomas plays for Detroit. We don't wear that. We wear this. But I'm from Chicago. I'm down with the Bull movement. Isiah was mad at that. Not to Michael personally. In his brain, every time I play against this dude, I'm gonna try to go off so my nephew sees this is the jersey you should wear. Never at Michael.
Well, what about the whole Dream Team situation?
That was the craziest thing, because when you hear the story, in Magic's words, Magic says on his documentary, he was the reason Isiah didn't get on the squad.
Well, because the story that was circulating was that Jordan said that he wouldn't play on the Dream Team if Isiah Thomas was on that team. That's not true.
No, he loved playing. He loved Isiah.
Really?
Still does.
So all that's just a myth.
He loved Isiah. He loved everything about us in Detroit.
Right.
He was on fire. Now this is my homie. My first TV show, the John Salley show. Michael comes. I go pick him up from the hotel in 1988 and bring him back to my set to shoot it, get him some food, and bring him back to the hotel. I would trade my tickets with Scotty and Horace because they have people in Detroit, and then they would give me 2 tickets when I went to Chicago. Like outside, it's right now, LeBron and them, you see it. We had the same things. People you were cool with. Dow Walker was always my man. Ron Harper, when I go to Cleveland, I go to Ron's house. And he takes me back so I can get on the bus, and then tries to kill me the night that we're playing. But these, we have relationships outside of being on court. But Magic's documentary, Magic says, because he was upset with Isiah, he said, because there was no way, Stockton is the greatest thing. I'm glad you put him on. Chris Mullin, I'm from Brooklyn. Mullin, if you tell me to pick a team, I'm going to pick Chris Mullin first anyway. Christian Laettner going instead of Shaq. Now, that was political on that part. But Magic said he blocked it. Michael doesn't have Michael doesn't even talk. See, that's another thing. The things that are different now is Michael didn't have conversations about that. What time we play? He's introverted.
Okay. Well, you played for the Bad Boys, and you got 2 back-to-back championships.
Yes.
And you guys were really shutting down Michael Jordan until Pippen arrived.
Exactly. Well, until they decided Pippen was going to be more, he was going to play more and be more involved, because we're back and forth. The Bulls are not even a conversation. And then my second year, they bring on the 2 young guys to emulate Dennis and I, right? But they're both better shooters. Horace is more structured than I am. He's playing more than I am. But then Scotty was an anomaly. This was we don't know what to do with this. Like, Joe is our best guard defender. Well, you got MJ here. So Joe has to play that. Or if you put Dennis on him, who's going to play? Dennis had to play too. Remember, we had to go through our AD transition because Michael was going to have to try to guard AD. AD's going to give him numbers. Check the stats. We had a better team. They wound up having a way better team when Scotty was given more responsibility. And it changed when Phil took over. Phil's second year in charge is when he realized propaganda. Say things in the newspaper about us being thugs and we don't play basketball the right way. Same thing Johnny Most is saying. But then when you talk to James Worthy, the real bad boys were the Celtics because they can do anything they want to.
Okay, I mean, because people felt that you guys played dirty.
Yeah, they felt that. And it was so funny because Phil Jackson said that. But if you watch, this is the funniest thing, when you watch toughest fouls, toughest players and all that, they put Rick Mahorn in there. Out of all of us, they put Dennis Rodman play, but you'll see everybody else. You'll see how tough all these other teams, Jack, Issel, Unseld, Bob Lanier, they go back to those days when You come in the paint, this is where men are. That mentality. You come in here high flying, we're going to put you on your back. It's one foul. That was a mentality. They stopped a thing called a breakaway foul after the Scottie Pippen thing, but it was a rule. A guy's going to make a layup. What did they used to say? Make him make it on the foul line. It's a hockey thing. Hit him. If you're going to come in here, don't just foul him. Foul him to block the shot. Don't ruin his career, undercut his legs. But all up in here, he got to take that hit.
Well, then there was the playoff game
Yeah.
when the Bulls beat the Pistons,
Yeah.
and you guys just walked off before the buzzer.
Okay, so so what happened is, Bill leans over and says, "Let's hand them the Eastern let's hand them the torch like it was handed to us. 1988, Adrian Dantley's on the foul line in the Silverdome. And all of a sudden, all the Celtics start walking through us as the guys are on the foul line. The Celtics are leaving the court. Larry Bird, Parrish, Isiah standing there, and we're just watching these guys walk off while AD is taking a foul shot. And out of the blue, Kevin McHale looks back at Isiah and says, "Bring the trophy back to the East," and gives him a 5 and walks through. And we're like, what in the world? You'll find it on camera. So Bill Laimbeer says, let's give them the torch like they gave us the torch. I lean over to Chuck. I get up. I said, Chuck, I said, hey, let me get back in the game. He goes, come on, Sal, you can't get any more stats than you have. I said, nah, there's some shit going down I don't want to be a part of. You need to put me back in the game. My mans and them are down there. This is how I am. I will kill you from start to the double zeros. Then I have to go back and become human. A lot of people can't transfer that. I do. I understand. It's a game I'm playing. So Chuck puts me back in. So I don't walk off because I'm on court. But we have to follow the captains. The thing that made it look bad is Isiah went this way and then Isiah like dipped around him, and it looked like he was trying to get away from Michael, the way it looked. But they stopped, they hugged Jack McCluskey, because we realized this is it. This was our 3 years. It was really, it was our 3 years, our 4 years of this is it. It's over. And that's why that happened. Now, this is another thing. The second time Michael has done an interview, when they were making him do interviews, and he said, well, you can see how, they walked off court like this, classless, like they are, because they had to be trained by Phil Jackson to hate us in order to beat us. So Michael says that, and when the new Messiah says something, so let it be written, so let it be done. That's what happened. No matter what they said about us when it came out of their mouths. But then you watch the Bad Boy documentary, the 30 from 30, and Michael talks about we're the team that motivated him. We're the team that made him get up early in the morning and lift weights and stay in the gym, because he realized we were the hurdle for him to get to being a champion.
Right. I remember when I interviewed Jalen Rose, we talked about his trash talking with Michael Jordan. And I said, what were some of the things what was like the worst thing you said to him? And he said, I called him overrated. He told Jordan he's overrated. How did he react?
Wow, I did watch those words come out of my mouth, huh?
You're overrated.
Because part of my ego makes me think I was a member of the Bad Boys team, but I actually didn't get a uniform. So it's like when they walked off and didn't shake the Bulls' hands, when I look back at that footage, I was on the team. I felt that. That was everything to me. So I rooted against Jordan his whole career, his entire career, hoping that I made it to the NBA. And now I'm in the league, and there you go. And it's the play. Get up. Take this. That's the beautiful thing about basketball. There's times I went to bed at night and probably played in a game where I scored more points than Michael Jordan. That's the beauty of sports. Little bumpy faced skinny kid from Detroit. But I did not clearly get the better. He did elbow me in the head one time. I vividly remember at Market Square Arena. I'm going up for a rebound. He right in the back of the head. I know you saw that. You was looking.
Oh, did he get called?
No.
And he was like, wow, I actually said that. Like, I called Michael Jordan overrated.
Yeah, because because it was built up, man. I tell people all the time, I love Michael Jordan. That's because I'm a marketer. But the way Michael Jordan has been marketed is phenomenal. Phenomenal. From the Dream Team to Nike filming Michael walking and seeing his own billboard at 7 o'clock in the morning, walking the streets of Barcelona in Nikes, when Adidas was everything, when Reebok was the team that the uniforms were made for. They're gonna have Michael Jordan in a Reebok uniform. To when you watch a championship, because I want you to bring these images up, Michael has a towel across his chest when he's getting his ring, because he doesn't want you to see the Nike or the Reebok on his chest. To the point of them building this American brand, and this is the hero behind the American brand. Yeah, like Bo Jackson, yes, everything he was in. What's the next cat? Tiger Woods. Look how they developed Tiger Woods. This is an American sneaker company. We had to beat Reebok / Adidas, the biggest sneaker company in the world. So how they built Michael. Michael saved the world in Space Jam. He saved the world. And he brought Warner Brothers and all of their Looney Tunes into China. I mean, the guy is a savior.
You're actually in the new 30 for 30 documentary on Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
And I watched, there's like a little preview of it, and you said that you thought that Dennis was going to shoot himself. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that whole situation around?
I love you, Vlad. Okay. So we're rookies. Dennis meets Annie in Sacramento. They have a very, she has a baby with Dennis. That becomes Dennis's wife. Annie was not happy in Detroit. Wasn't happy at a lot of things, but she wasn't happy in Detroit. And I remember one time she told me, I drove the truck, or she puts it in her book. She drove the truck to the airport while we're playing, and says, "This is Dennis Rodman's truck." Those keys to the guy. I was like, "We're Bellman. You have a truck if you want. It's Dennis Rodman's." And she bounces.
She gave away his truck.
Like, just, gets it back. But that's the kind of relationship that was happening back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Then she comes in town to stay with our friend, but instead they stay at some other place. And Dennis finds out that she's in town. She's staying at this other place. And he's like, I can't believe she's there. But she's with our friend, right? They're thinking she's doing something different. And Dennis comes to the arena, but he always had, he has a dually, because he's in Texas. Of course you need a dually in Detroit. Smartest car to have, though, with the snow they had. And he has a gun rack in the back, and he has his rifle, because he's a country boy, and that's what they do. And he's sitting there, and I think it's Matt pulls up, or Mike Abnow pulls up first. Somebody pulls up and sees, D-Rod, what are you doing here? And he's sitting there in the car, and he's obviously somewhere else. And Mike says, I think it's Mike Abnow, I got to get him in, you got to bring him into the spot. But his gun wasn't in his gun rack. So when that was told to me that his gun wasn't in the gun rack, it was next to him, I believed he had the capability of ending his life right then. Because in that moment, his life was ended. Because Annie meant that much.
Okay, over Annie Baker.
Yeah.
Bakes, I mean. Sorry. So he was so in love with her that he was ready to kill himself.
That was it, man. I was there. I was there when he met her, and I went back and got him in the room because he was late to the bus the next morning in Sacramento. He was love struck, man. It was like moonstruck. I wanted to slap him like Cher slapped Nicolas Cage. Snap out of it. But he was love struck.
What do you think was the craziest thing that you experienced with Dennis Rodman?
Besides that?
Besides that. Because he was kind of a maniac.
Besides that, it's the craziest thing I've ever experienced. Okay, so I get on the Bulls. Vlad, so I am on the Bulls. Dennis Rodman's hair is now whatever, because he had been hanging out with Madonna, okay? He's doing his hair, different colors. There's a mural when you're coming in Chicago of him with his sleeves cut off, Michael and Scotty wearing suits and whatever, but he has on a suit, but his sleeves are cut off. It was dope. Whoever did it was brilliant. Put him in a about to be constructed suit instead. At the highest, this is, I think, the year after he married himself and became the most known visual in the world.
Oh, when he wore the wedding dress
yeah.
and drag and everything?
Yeah. So imagine I get on the Bulls and I'm back with D-Rod and he goes, hey, we're going out to eat. I'm going to be at Morton's Steakhouse. I had to give them a shout out. Why? I don't know. My dumb ass. But anyway, we're at Morton's. And I get there, Jerry Springer's there. So I'm geeked. I want to sit next to Jerry and talk to Jerry at this dinner Dennis having. And there's this blonde at the table. And I look down and a blonde. The boobs, the look, the Marilyn Monroe is at our table. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, and I look again. And I look at Dennis and I smile and I look at Dennis and Dennis is like this. He looks at me, nods, and goes, and I go, nah, not my style. That's all I say. And Jerry Springer said, this is pretty crazy dinner. People, he's talking, and I'm getting to know Jerry because I want to hang with Jerry Springer. And to this day, I'm cool with Jerry Springer. And I see that. And everyone goes, wow. And Dennis says, you're the only person that has not tried to holler at her. And I go, yeah, not my style, not my speed. He goes, still same old style. I said, yeah, I have a radar. It was a dude.
It was a guy.
And then when he has his party at a gay club called, I think it was called Tracks, downtown, and something breaker. Jawbreaker or something like that. He has his party there. The media shows up because they have to be where Dennis is going to be up and wild. Other dudes show up. They see the blonde who's always with him. That all these people are like, oh my God, you can't.
It was a man.
It's a man. So
wow.
And I'm like this. And Dennis was just friends with him, but he loved the fact that everybody tried to kick it to him. Dennis's favorite thing was, yeah, everybody is thinking they're gonna go around me. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get Dennis's girl. Go ahead. So that's the crazy thing. I was at the dinner was like, you remember in Talladega Nights when they go to the dinner and there's Elvis Costello there and Mos Def and Will Ferrell goes, what's Elvis Costello and Mos Def doing here? And it was just one of those dinner parties where it's just an eclectic amount of people sitting in this. Dennis had this thing. I don't even know his name, but he would give RuPaul a run for the money, as into you have to look again. I just looked and kept looking because I was like knowing, okay, she's a blonde. Dennis has one. That's, Madonna. And then and I'm looking because he's cool enough, not holding hands or anything, part of his crew. And I was like, oh, still trying to trap people.
Hey, shout out to Malik Yoba.
You know, let me talk about my man's Malik. Y'all leave. Let me tell you what I
had Malik on my show earlier this year.
Yeah.
And we talked about transsexuals.
So my one-man show, Harlem to Hollywood, I play over 15 characters. My show is set in a therapist's office. One of the main characters is Gladys Rosenberg, who's an old Jewish woman. She's a therapist. That's me. I play 2 trans characters in it. I play an old Spanish man. I play an old Italian guy. I play an old Jamaican woman. So for me, we're vessels. And the goal is to show humanity in all of its fullness. And I'm half man, half woman. My mother birthed me. I'm half of that. And I think for a lot of men, we really have a problem identifying with that side of ourselves because we have some notion that that doesn't make you man. Well, you couldn't be a man without a woman, first of all. Although I do know, respect, and appreciate the resistance that many Black men have to portraying Black men in dresses, because there is a sense of a conspiracy. I don't subscribe to this personally, but I understand it, that people feel, you know, there's an emasculation of Black men.
Fast forward to September, and now he's admitting that he likes females with breasts and penises.
Okay. So did he said he liked, but this is what I think. One, with Deuces 22, and part of my marketing scheme is to literally support things that we feel don't get a lot of support.
Okay.
And so the Fight magazine is a transgender magazine. I want to advertise in a magazine, one, because you have to pay to advertise in a magazine. So that's our way of supporting. And to let people, I'm not trying to normalize anything, but this has been what has been happening for a long time. People are putting focus on it. People feel they're in different bodies. People feel they are different people. I did ayahuasca in May. Since then, I realized this avatar we're in is just skin bag of bones with some tubes. Mm-hmm. We're literally living beings. I've seen it. It's hard to explain. People, I'm watching Joe Rogan, I'm thinking, let me do some of these plant medicines. It's another reason to go to Africa, man. They got the best plant medicines you can possibly experience. I want to know why I only use 1/4 of my brain, or humans, why we don't use their entire brain and all the things inside of it. I want to know. But getting back to the transgender thing and my man Malik, I support him too. I don't believe in having sex with him, that personally, but I support him and understand that everybody should be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah, if that's your thing, that's your thing.
Right.
I think a lot of people have issues when it comes to that. When you have children with women who don't know that's what you're doing. You know, for example, there was a post which I haven't verified yet, so we're not 100% sure this is true, but he has kids with this two children with this one woman who's basically responded and say how upset she was that, you know, that she's now finding this out and
that
so
he
forth, was dating transgenders and so forth. And I think like the kids didn't know and stuff like that. You know, but listen, live your truth. If you're into transgenders, be into transgenders. It's all
and
good.
Yeah. If that's real, one of my best friends, God rest his soul, is Thomas, and Thomas I was never really homophobic because I've always protected anybody that got picked on around my way. I ain't like it. I ain't like people calling names. I just don't like it. And then I always say, yo, why do you care what he does with his private parts? It's private. I would say that. I said, yo, you into that? No, man, you know, they just make me uncomfortable. What makes you uncomfortable about how he has sex? You ain't supposed to know how he has sex unless you want to have sex with that person.
I am not uncomfortable around gay people at all.
That's the thing that, like,
I
what is
think if you
uncomfortable?
yourself are unsure about your sexuality, that's when things start to get a little fuzzy.
Right. Or you have been brainwashed to feel that there's something they're not. I'm black. I go through that. Now, I'm not comparing the black right to the gay. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But already walking in and being prejudged, I already know that. So Thomas was one of the smartest people in the world, and he did all the fine girls in the neighborhood here. So when they was getting their weed put back in, he would call me and tell me who was there. I'd walk in, they'd be like, "Oh my God, Judge." Yeah. But yeah, just to Malik, I thought, which I realized, a lot of time people catch things before they become something you have to defend.
Right, because there was a woman, a transgender, who said that Malik had paid for sex with her when she was underage.
Yeah.
As a transgender.
So
And said that he used to cruise around Times Square and everything else like that.
Wow. Well, no one, it's so funny they call it cruise around Times Square. When I was growing up, you went up to 40 Deuce with your crew, and there's sex things everywhere, and there's the Chinese flicks going on, and there's crews wanting to fight against crews. That was the Times Square. That was a city.
It was rough back in like the 80s and 70s.
Yeah. So I didn't see it that way as people cruising up there. I guess you do, but you don't have to go. This is the funniest thing too. If you're from New York, you ain't got to go to Manhattan to have sex. You can go right down on 33rd Street. It's not even Times Square. You go on 34th Street, 32nd Street on the west side. If if that's where in Brooklyn, you can go in Flatbush. Like everybody knows their neighborhood where the hoes are. So going to Manhattan is not what people do.
But the transgender thing is kind of a specific thing. You don't see transgenders all over the boroughs and everything. I think a lot of them were in certain areas. You know what I'm saying?
It's this. Who wrote the song? They like what chicks with dicks. There was a huge dude looked like a lady.
Yeah, dude looks like a lady.
Dude
Aerosmith.
looked like a lady, right? But then the huge porn line of things, chicks with dicks. It's huge. It was a whole section before they even used the word transgender. That was a huge portal of people going and watching. Oh man, I can't believe you surprised me. Every rapper getting caught out there. I didn't know it was a girl. Stevie Wonder doing a song about a guy who's one way, but that at home he's painting his nails at night. And everybody had been introducing that part of what was happening.
Yeah, Mr. C.
Yeah. Like guys getting caught constantly. Who else did that? Meth said one. Who was it? But it was in rhymes. Boom, boom. Found out it was a girl. It was a dude. It was this. It was that. It was.
Far Side had a.
Yeah, guys would rhyme about it, so it was true.
Yeah. Oh, there's a song called "Oh Shit" by Far Side.
Mm-hmm. So I'd laugh when I would hear that. One of my friends is transgender in the South, and I walk her in here right now. Sorry, no one would know, and I mean that. Like,
looks just like a female. Yeah,
and attractive, would walk in and no one would know. And she said to me, she goes, "You make me nervous." I said, "Yeah, well," I'm looking, I go, "Something different about you." That's all I said. She said, "You're the only one that ever said that. Something different about you." And I said, "Man, you must be really getting them down here." Right? So,
hey,
people do it.
People do it. Recently, there was the whole Kobe and Shaq thing that got reignited. Kobe did an interview on Valuetainment where he said that he would have won 12 championships if Shaq wasn't so lazy. Shaq, who I'm actually cool with, we did a mixtape project back in the day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Me and Shaq did a mixtape, and he did a freestyle where he dissed Kobe.
Right. I remember it.
That was my mixtape.
Okay.
That's how me and him kind of became cool initially. So he responded think on like Yahoo Sports or something Yahoo Finance. He was talking about some new venture he's doing, and they brought that up, of course. And he said, well, I don't consider myself lazy. You know, he said, is he talking to me or talking to my statues in front of the Staples Center?
That was his only response.
It was something like that.
Right.
You know, he wasn't trying to dwell on it. And, you know, Shaq is extremely successful, extremely hardworking, on and off the court. Why do you think to this day, and they have championship rings together, like why do you think to this day they're still going at it like this? It's 2019, they're both retired. Like,
so this is why. Shaquille, the year after he leaves the Lakers, goes to Miami, and when he comes out on that stage at MTV down in Miami, and the flames are going up, and he is shredded. I think that was the best shape he was in from when he came into the league, and I think him going into that warm weather, him letting all the weight off of his body. See, weight is put on from epigenetics. It's literally what you're holding on to, right? It's most of the time it's psychological. Not all the time, but a lot of it comes from different traumas. That's technical. That is medical. So, as far as medical of the mind, you can go to. So I saw Shaq in that shape, and I think Pat Riley also had a different train. Like they put everybody on bikes. You're down in that wonderful weather, and he shed a lot of weight and a lot of things when he went to Miami. A lot was revealed to him. Kobe was a gym rat, an introvert, right? He's more Italian than he is American. He's very quiet, and
he wasn't flashy.
He wasn't
Hollywood.
But then all of a sudden I saw the Lamborghini and the tattoos on the arm, and things started changing.
Later on.
He started becoming more vocal.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever resentment he had from being a 19-year-old or 18-year-old when he first came in may build up. But when you look back, right, hindsight is 20/20. Man, if we were just machines and we were just machines, it would be. But that wasn't the case. Shaq, what they want to consider out of shape, is better than at least all the big men you know.
Yeah.
If what he was out of shape, he wasn't. Like right now, the way guys are training and having people, the different diets and the understanding of it, of course he was going to swell. That's his humanly makeup if you participate in eating animal flesh like that. But I think Shaq's response to it by not feeding into it is best. I think the way Shaq handled it, because you can't say what would have happened. No one can stop Shaq out of shape. What do you mean if he was in shape? The reason you didn't win more championship with Shaq is they traded him. That's the reason.
Yeah, well, but Shaq actually blamed Kobe on that trade.
No. Once again, and this is when I got in trouble with Shaq. I said this on the radio on Steve Harvey. I said, we're all slaves on the same plantation. So the plantation owner is not going to listen to a player. You don't have to make him happy. You're paying him, right? So him going up and saying, we need to move. That's not how it works. It's just not. Magic does, and I said this, Magic owns 7% of the team and can't say that to Dr. Buss. So Kobe, who's just an employee, can't say that to Dr. Buss, and Dr. Buss says yes. It had to be some other minds around, because Dr. Buss wasn't sitting around as the main thought process when it came to what the team was going to be. He was in charge of the money that he would agree to pay a player. So it had to be the powers inside that wanted it.
Well, I pulled up an article about my mixtape.
Yeah.
And at the time, Shaq was beefing with Matt Skills.
Okay.
Right? They had a little bit of a back and forth. You know,
Which Shaq probably loved.
Loved it because he's a rapper. He's a
Right.
platinum rapper.
Exactly.
Two platinum albums and a gold album. Okay, the only athlete to ever do that.
Period.
With a DT at the end.
Right. He and Dennis Rodman are the two most amazing, two of the amazing humans I've ever been around.
So I'm looking at the lyrics from this song, right? And Shaq said, you know, in his rap, he said, "Even with wings, you're never as fly as me. You remind me of Kobe Bryant, trying to be as high as me, but you can't. Even if you get me traded, wherever I'm at, I'm Puffy, you Mace, and you're still hated."
I remember that.
Even if you get me traded. He blamed Kobe for that trade.
This is
out of his own mouth.
Right. This is what I feel. And I look at it this way. Shaq's toe was hurting. Shaq had already given him 3 championships. He was still valuable to trade. He's a big man. And when anything happens to the base of your foot, right? I think they got money and future options for trading Shaq to Pat Riley, right? So it had to be a deal where, because Jerry Buss is gone. Jerry West is gone, right? So who's behind making the trade to Pat Riley? Had to be Mitch Kupchak. That conversation doesn't come, Dr. Buss picks up, get Shaq out of this uniform. Or, what do you want me to say, Kobe? That ain't happening. Dr. Buss was not that dude. So it had to be Shaq running down court. And this is when I knew it was crazy, saying he was looking at Dr. Buss, saying, give me my money, when Dr. Buss sits in the booth. If he was doing that, and he said that to Dr. Buss, and Dr. Buss felt disrespected, get him out of here. It had nothing to do with Kobe. I'm just saying because I wasn't there, but I know Dr. Buss. I knew Dr. Buss.
Right. Well, there was also the whole thing when, remember, Kobe had the whole cheating scandal situation, and he ended up throwing Shaq under the bus.
It wasn't Shaq he threw under the bus.
Who did he throw under the bus?
He never said it was Shaq.
So people just assumed he was talking about
Yeah,
Shaq.
because it was all he said, my teammate, right? Which I never heard Kobe say. Mm-hmm. This is rumor. Right? And if he said it, right, supposedly this is what he said to the officers. Right? Because he didn't talk in court. Supposedly this is what he says in the office. But now we hear, out of all the things he said, we hear this. No. If he was like, my teammates did this, then he's not saying, if it was Shaq, he would have said, Shaq, boom. He wouldn't have said one of my teammates.
Yeah, pays off. I should just do what they do, just pay off the girls or something.
Right.
Like
he would have said Shaq. Mm-hmm. He didn't. But everybody assumed that Shaq was paying. Shaq doesn't pay off girls. He doesn't. He doesn't give them money to have sex. He pays them to leave. Like, you know what I'm saying? When Shaq, if Shaq were to tell you how I remember this. I remember this, and this is a story I never forgot. I'm playing on the Lakers. They give us like per diem, $930 or whatever. They still got to give Shaq one. Shaq has not cashed any of his NBA checks to this day. So they're going to give Shaq a yellow envelope with $930. This guy makes $300,000 per game at this time.
Yeah.
So this girl was talking, I'm now doing Best Damn Sports Show. She was, shoot, boy, I used to get that money from all that, man. I had Shaq one time. That's right, I kicked it with him, And I look, and I'm not saying anything, and everybody gets quiet. And I go, oh, you kicked it with Shaq. She said, yeah, I tell you right now, boom, came up to me. He didn't give me a G. He like, here go $900, boom, boom, gave it to me. Go shop it. That's what the girl is saying. And I go, $930. She goes,
Shaq was giving
matter of
girls
fact, it was $930. Bitch, he gave you per diem. He gave you Laker per diem money.
He's giving out his Lakers per diem to girls.
He gave, like,
Absolutely love it.
you cannot go up and say, he probably just was like,
Here.
Yeah. I think it was this stripper chick bragging about that she got a G. No, you got $930.
$938.
He cares nothing about it.
Well, shout out to Shaq, man. I think, me and him have been in contact recently, actually. Mm-hmm. And I think what he's done is phenomenal on the business level. Yeah. Being a board member on Papa John's. Mm-hmm. He is a minority owner on the Suns, mm-hmm. I believe. He had like 150 Five Guys burger joints that he sold, I believe. That's what he mentioned. God. Right, for you. Bunch of different investments, a bunch of different businesses. Absolutely incredible in terms of what he's done off the court.
And when I needed cash, he said, how much?
Oh, really? He gave you some cash when you needed it?
To this day.
How much did he give you?
70.
70,000.
70,000. And then wait, this deal, I went back and said, I'm good. He said, nah, we're good.
He didn't want it back.
And I was like, And then somebody was like, yeah, if people owe you, you still pay. And I was, to this day, which I'm going to say on the show, because the cannabis business is becoming very, very good for us, I got him in my brain as an investor. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when I kick back, it's, how many years ago was that? At this percentage, if you would have put it in the bank, would have given you this. Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you this, and you can do whatever you want with it. Right. When he was with Hoops, Hoops was one of my favorite people on the planet. She told him, she was like, that's a real cat. And he always knows it. I went to his retirement of his jersey, and people around him have always gotten away, but I've always had a way with Big, always. When we would shoot foul shots on Sunday, when we would talk about things, I always had a way with Big. We won the championship. We get back home. I live 5 doors. He's in with his feet and I sitting there in the pool. I never forget that. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. 2 baby mamas at the house, his mother, and he's at my house in the pool sitting around and goes, what happened now, Sal? I go, now you got to win more. We're just sitting there with our feet in the pool, and we're now champions together. And to everybody else, they're thinking about, what was your greatest moment in the NBA? Mine, sitting with my feet in the pool with Shaq, talking about what was going to be next.
Dope. Well, I had Marcellus Wiley on my show recently.
One of my other favorite people. His vocabulary. God, I love his vocabulary.
Well, he went to Columbia.
Yes.
He reminds you. He reminds you that he went to Columbia.
Yes.
Not the greatest football school.
He's like Killer Mike. Like Killer Mike's vocabulary is phenomenal.
Right, along with D.L. Hughley.
Yes. Oh my God, he just comes from nowhere.
Right. I got to go check the dictionary after interviewing. So he has pissed a lot of people off by some things he said about Kaepernick. So I had him come to my show to double down.
Yes.
Because this is what I do. So there's the whole concept that Kaepernick is being blackballed from the NFL.
Whiteballed from the NFL.
Whiteballed. There you go. Now, Marcellus actually pointed out that Kaepernick had 4 potential NFL offers that he fumbled.
Then you have opportunities to go to 2 or 3 teams. You opt out of your deal. You got a chance to go to 2 teams after that. We know what happened with Seattle. Basically, you're going to have to service Russell Wilson and get our starter, Russell Wilson, right. You down with that? Nah, that's not how I roll. We know what happened in Baltimore. You're supposed to go to Baltimore, and they're working on it. Ray Lewis is over there working his magic with the owner, Biscotti. What happens? Nessa fires off a tweet from Django, making Ray Lewis look like a coon, quote-unquote coon, and him as a slave owner, the owner. What? So now you've exhausted the 49er opportunity because you opted out. You had Denver on the hook for a reduced contract before all this. You messed up Baltimore. You messed up Seattle. 4 teams, but you blackballed. I don't know what the definition of blackballed is to y'all, but to me, it's when you have no opportunities because of conspiracy. It's not when I mess up a bunch of opportunities and then say nobody else wants to hire me. I think word gets out that you're messing them up and people want to just go a different direction.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with a football player.
Okay. And he broke some of them down. Like, for example, he's talking to the Miami Dolphins and he decides to wear a Castro shirt. And you know what the major population in Miami is. Cubans who hate Castro.
White Cubans.
Cubans in general.
White Cubans.
Come on, cut it out.
The reason I lived in Miami, I wondered, I said, why is it so racist here? Like, they came over on rafts. Like, why are they acting like that? It's not like...
Well, I mean, there was the boat lift and everything
Right,
else.
I
Like
said,
that. Those were not
why-
just white Cubans. Those are
I
everyone.
also was on Miami Heat, and when we went to Guantanamo Bay, the refugees, Cubans, were finding places in America. The refugees from Haiti were being sent back. I watched it. I saw it personally.
Okay.
Never did I take that trick again. Didn't want to hear it. But so the idea is that Castro used the slaves to overthrow. He used all of the lower levels to overthrow what was their situation. I'm telling you, I'm a history person, and I love Cuba, so I wanted to know where it was. So that's part of where the hate and the racism comes from, the lighter Cubans. So
Okay.
just giving you truth and honesty.
Then there was, he was talking to Baltimore.
And he wore Ray Rice.
And then his girlfriend, Nessa, decides to post a picture. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, you don't know about this? Okay. Hold on. I'm about to show you something interesting. So he's talking to Baltimore about a QB position. Nessa turns around and posts this on her Twitter. Where she basically compares Ray Rice and the owner of Baltimore to Django and, to the Django characters, Leonardo DiCaprio and Samuel Jackson. So those talks end, not surprisingly. And then there was like two other instances also that he pointed out.
Okay.
I'm just going to say this. He was talking to the Broncos, but he didn't want to take a pay cut. And he was also talking to the Seahawks, but he refused to tell the team that he's not going to kneel. So those are 4 opportunities.
Those are not 4 opportunities. First things first.
Potential opportunities.
That was the most unbelievable picture I had ever seen.
You've never seen that before.
I had never seen it. And man, did that cut deep.
Imagine if you're in negotiations for an NBA team
And
your wife decides to go on social media and post that.
Yeah.
Imagine what that conversation is going to be like later that night.
I know, because wasn't Ray spoke against him kneeling?
Yeah.
Okay. I almost wore my Kaepernick shirt today.
Okay.
I seriously almost wore it, and I said I wear Mandela instead. I promise you, it's a red shirt with the silhouette, and it had number 7 with the afro. I think what Kaepernick has done is phenomenal. I think he is our modern day Tommy Smith, and I just think he's our modern day Muhammad Ali. He's our modern day 1968 boycott the Olympics. I think his stand and him not standing was an amazing, was effective. I do. I think it was very effective because we're still talking about it. To take a pay cut, he's right. They were like, hey, let's give him this. If he wants to play, he'll play for this, not for what he's earned, not for what his market value is. Because his market value now is even higher. But no team realized it. They were literally based everything in fear. Because this is a guy you want to play. This is a guy, obviously, that can lead. This is a guy that doesn't mind stepping in the way of controversy. And the way he did it, he's an adopted kid that found himself, right? it makes people nervous. Makes people nervous when you're in Oakland and you're wearing an afro with a black leather jacket and you're not speaking what they want to hear you. They go back to that fear and that thought of Black Panther. He brought that back out.
Mm-hmm.
He brought awareness to black people. We're losing awareness, right? To the point where they were boycotting the NFL by not watching it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how you boycott it. It's a good thing. It was cool, but not being entertained by all 95 other black guys or 99 other black guys on the field is not. Yo, a real boycott, or what would have, and hindsight 2020, if the players would have gotten together and every black player, American black player, decided we're not playing on Sunday, things would have changed.
Yeah.
But it takes a raindrop. It takes one raindrop before they look up and see that it's about to start raining. But there was no other, it was other raindrops, but we were still scattered in our
Right.
in our boycott and our struggle.
Marcellus's point was this overall, right? You understand as a former professional player that when it comes to you having a job in the league, it is not strictly based on your skill level.
Mm-mm.
It is a whole package.
Right.
You are a professional. You
Correct.
represent the league. Marcellus even said that there are better players out there than your favorite player who might have gone to jail, who might have gotten caught up with having kids too early, who had personal problems and so forth, who
Mental health issues,
whatever else. You have to look, these are major businesses and you represent that business. So you have to look at it as a whole.
Your positions in professional sports is never based just on ability. Ask Carmelo Anthony right now. This is a future Hall of Famer walking around, can still give you buckets, but is not in the NBA for other reasons. And it's funny that outsiders always forget that the other reasons are a part of the equation until it's a reason they don't like. We're mindful of it all the time. And it's not about getting in line. It's about you're a professional. If they just wanted the best football players, they didn't give a damn about anything else. There are dudes in the hood. There are dudes who got astray. There's a dudes who went the wrong way. There's a dudes who locked up. There's a dude who's teaching. There's a dude at FedEx. Like, we're not just going out there in this meritocracy saying best football player only, who cares about the rest of his package. It's always been this package deal. And look, I went to Columbia, and they were looking at me like, oh, no, can he play? They sorry. And I'm like, you got to isolate variables. No, I didn't play against a great competition. It hurt me. But at the same time, I had my opportunity because they looked at the entire package.
So a lot more goes into it than just, well, I'm good enough to play. I should get to play. No, they have to look at it as a whole. And one of the things that we discussed in the interview is, at the end of the day, look at this. Name me one company in the world, one corporation, where you sue that company, they settle, and you expect to go work for that company again. The question that I keep seeing come up is, how do you sue a company, settle, get a paycheck, and then expect a job back afterwards?
Right. Like, that's really ignoring what human capital is. And I don't think a lot of people understand what human capital is. We call it networking a lot of times. But look, these are human beings at the end of the day. I know he's an owner or he's a billionaire and you seem distant from that, but that's a dude who goes home and is like, what the hell happened? So in the Kaepernick situation, which is amazing, is he lost sight of that. Now let's talk about the settlement. No one knows what he settled for definitively. And it's amazing that in that settlement, it's not implying guilt. People always think that once you settle, you're guilty. NFL's guilty. No, it's basically big bank takes little bank and says, look, I got so much money, I don't need to deal with this. All this time you're taking up is money. All this negative PR is money. I'm going to get back to the money-making business, get rid of you at a cost that is low to me but high to you.
None.
It's just, humans work a certain type of way. Now Eric Reed is still playing, but he was already playing at the time. They understand that if they let him go now after the lawsuit, that it would be another lawsuit. You see what I'm saying? But if you're not already playing, if you're not already working, you got your check. He didn't have to take a settlement, and people don't understand that just because they settle does not mean either party is innocent or guilty. People settle for financial reasons 99% of the time. It's cheaper for me to settle than to go to court.
Right.
So at the end of the day, he sued. He got his check, whatever that may be. It was never disclosed. And that was up to him as well, because at the end of the day, he could have pushed to have a disclosed amount. But he agreed to have a non-disclosed amount. He took his money. Go on and, you have your deal with Nike. You have a lot of attention and so forth. You're going to have a great career for the rest of your life in terms of, social justice. You're probably just not going to play in the NBA based on your actions.
Dick Gregory.
In the NFL, based on your actions.
I don't want to get in trouble saying Dick Gregory's name again, but Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory sacrificed his professional career and focused on civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he suffered some, as he'd say, some part in the finances. He was making tons of money entertaining. He no longer, Dave Chappelle decided, I no longer wanted to be laughed at. And
even though he ended up making like $70 million off his Netflix deal, but
10 years later,
10 years later,
right?
More than 10 years later. 20
more than 10 years later, he comes back and makes the money.
Yeah.
But Jack Parr, this is crazy. This shows you what I did. So I researched a lot before I became a late night talk show. The first one, The Tonight Show, was hosted by Jack Parr. Jack Parr didn't like something going on at NBC, and Jack Parr didn't show up for a week.
Well,
when he came back, he said, as I was saying, because they changed their view, but then they got rid of him and got Johnny Carson.
Nick Cannon, who's a regular on the show, is also
great interviews too.
Yeah,
I like how he checks you. It's pretty slick.
That's my man. We're friends.
I loved it.
And I remember he did a comedy stand-up where he said NBC stands for N-word, be careful. And then that caused a bunch of friction. And I remember he called me. He's like, yeah, I'm thinking of quitting. I said, well, you should at least have some talks with him. I'm not going to be the one to tell you to give up like $50 million or whatever the hell they're giving you. Or not 50, maybe it was like 10 million or something like that. But he ended up quitting anyways. And he's made more money since he quit.
Right.
Now
he's on the radio now.
Masked Singer. He's on the radio in LA on the morning show. Wild 'N Out is still going crazy.
It's bananas.
People have made that choice to say, fuck the system. I'm not gonna demean myself in order to keep a job, and so forth. Kaepernick is really right now probably the most well-known quarterback in the world.
Yeah.
Right now.
Because he sacrificed his career.
Tom Brady is obviously a much better quarterback, but people will know Kaepernick more than they know Brady. You got to kind of follow football to a certain regard to know who Brady is. He's not bigger than life like a Jordan is.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I
But
get it.
everyone knows Kaepernick.
Everybody knows Kaepernick, and this is, and people know Brady. One, he is the best quarterback that played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Period.
And
so we can argue that too. Period. And he married one of the most beautiful women in the world, and they have children. So that right there is, way to go. Glad. But as far as Kaepernick sacrificing his career, he sacrificed his career for everybody else. So everybody else can make a stand against what in Oakland was part of the reason and was the big fight and the kill of the Black Panthers they were against police brutality. To say it and keep doing it in the 60s and for Kaepernick to have to take a knee to make you pay attention that it's still going on, it's the same sacrifice. I applaud him for it. I literally didn't watch football when, because I'm, like I said, I'm a believer in the movement of my people. And if the culture says this is not what we're doing, we're not doing. But I think we should have been more organized like our ancestors were on the bus boycott, almost bankrupt the bus companies in Alabama by black people not getting on the bus. Now, but he had to be that spark. And they keep talking about his girlfriend. Behind every great man is a woman holding him up. So I'm gonna take my hat off to her. But that picture.
You mentioned Nessa. Marcellus Wiley touched up on that as well. And he has an issue with Nessa attacking black men on Kaepernick's behalf when she herself is not black. You made a point in that interview that Nessa is speaking for Colin Kaepernick, but she herself is not black.
Right.
She's Egyptian, I believe.
Yeah.
Which some people could classify as black, depending on the lens that you're looking at. But she is not an African-American black person, as you are or Kaepernick is, and so forth. And you had an issue with that. So can you explain why?
Yeah, I had an issue with it. I mean, look, like you said, you can look deeper into the Egyptian culture and what they're dealing with. I would dare anyone to ask a Nubian or Sudanese about an Egyptian existence when they're being gunned down and people of color are being gunned down out there, having issues with the police. But I also, would question, why do Egyptians say, hey, I'm going to Africa, when they're talking about going within the same continent? It's pretty interesting. You got to do your own research on Egypt to understand this, versus sub-Saharan Africa, which is the lead way and the breeding ground for black America out here, or Middle Eastern culture, living in Saudi Arabia like she did, whatever. I'm not going to get bogged down in those details. I will say that what she's done is gotten real comfortable with the cause, which is fine because of her intimate experience with her boyfriend and Colin Kaepernick. But there's issue that I take that becomes an appropriation situation, because she's calling other brothers out outside their names. Ray Lewis, that suggestion that he's a coon. Now, I don't know where y'all from, but if someone non-black is talking about someone black in that respect, that's a violation, and that's a felony. That ain't misdemeanor. That's like, where are you coming from? Now, this appropriation situation has gotten out of control. It's not just Ray Lewis. It's Malcolm Jenkins and Big Boy from Outkast. Big Boy from Outkast is now under the fire of Nessa. What qualifies you for that? Travis Scott. Like, these are brothers who are doing their own works. No one raised their hands to say, I'm the leader of a cause. So no one is sitting there with that responsibility. But trust me, they're doing their own things. Jay-Z, like, we letting her get away with it. So, it's what Pac say? I got a lot of Pac for her. You might be deep in the game, but you got the rules missing. That's what this feels like. She deep in the game. I get it. Y'all cool. But we gave her a pass.
Now, it gets a little fuzzy because she's like Egyptian and Arab and so forth, but she is not African-American.
She's not African-American, but she's African.
Yeah.
So she's not a black African, a dark black African, but she is of African descent. So let's explain that to all people, that on the continent of Africa, Egypt exists.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
I have been there.
Right.
But in particular, he had a problem with her posting up a picture like that Django picture, which you were still in shock from.
I am still in shock from it because Django, I saw Mandingo. Okay, that's a crazy statement, and it's still stuck in my brain. And what should have happened is why I want this film network that I'm doing is because I want to get the rights to movies that they no longer play and play them and explain it. Ted Turner at the Omni Theater in Atlanta every day Gone with the Wind plays. Every day. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why is that? And it's for $1. He wanted to show the establishment of the South. So he played the movie that established what it was then. I thought it was, and it was that one 1935 movie, movie of the year or whatever, best movie. But he played it. I want that situation. I want images to be seen that we that they think we're not supposed to pay attention to or feel bad about, but it really explains the story.
I mean, Birth of a Nation.
Birth of a Nation.
The original Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
One of the most racist, ugly films ever.
But
which was praised by the president at the time.
And played in the White House.
Played in the White House.
But imagine when Birth of the Nation, the second one, came about, how they did that was with the Me Too. They went after the actor.
Nate Parker.
Yeah, they went after
Who's also the director, I believe.
Yeah, they went after that. Well, this piece of work he was doing would have been great for this generation.
Yeah. Have you seen pictures of Delonte West recently?
Yeah. That's why I said mental health.
He is homeless. I mean, straight up homeless. And I remember we posted the article, and someone hit me on Facebook, and I was like, yo, here's a picture of me and Delonte, like from like a year ago. Like, yeah, he was literally in the street. like this is not just some bad picture of him being drunk. No, he really went from playing with LeBron to getting pulled over with like an arsenal, like in his backpack, to now being homeless.
Yeah,
Did you know him at all?
No.
Yeah.
I saw him, and I saw the picture, so I didn't react. Because, usually if I see something that's really crazy, I'm going to send it to you. You're going to tell me if it's true. But I didn't react because I didn't know if it was a guy who looked like him.
No, that's really him.
And that's what I mean by mental health. They knew there was mental health situations there, but they can't fix everybody. And
yeah, I mean, look at this.
NBA Player Association, I know. Is it that way he wants to be? Sounds really messed up. But I work downtown. I was working with teens and suicides. They come in LA, the bus lets them off in Hollywood. People need to understand this. The bus lets you off in Cahuenga, and that's why the Hollywood thing kicks in. That's when the prostitution, the sex trade, all of that kicks in. But downtown, trying to help the people in Skid Row.
Skid Row, yeah. It's mostly drug addicts.
Yeah, they were a lot of drug addicts mixed in with people who ran into hard times, who found their ways to deal with those nights and those days of not having. So there's some people who literally, everyone should have a place. We're America. Like, I was in India, there's homeless everywhere because there's 1.2 billion people.
Yeah.
But in America, there shouldn't be any homelessness. Like Hawaii, they're giving them one-way flights. One-way flights to Hawaii.
To get rid of homeless people.
Yeah, they give you a one-way flight to Honolulu. That's what people have been dumping homeless people in Hawaii.
Really?
Yeah.
How is Hawaii okay with this?
They're not. They're not, but people are getting a one-way ticket. You know what they were also doing here downtown? They were putting them on buses and dropping them in Palm Desert. So if you go to Palm Desert, which is across the highway from Palm Springs, huge homeless situation out there. And a lot of them is mental health issue.
Carmelo Anthony.
Another one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
I was speaking it to existence. I think I messed it up for him.
What do you mean?
He should be a Laker.
There's a rumor that he was going to be a Laker.
Remember that? I said it on your show, and then he and LeBron were out at dinner.
In 2018, LeBron James joined the Los Angeles Lakers.
We're going to have Carmelo Anthony soon.
You think so? Because he was let go from, was it the Rockets? And a lot of people are saying his career is over, but you don't think so.
He'll be on the Lakers. So let me explain what I think is going to happen.
Okay. I mean, I listened to these predictions very carefully now since last time. So.
When I was on the Best Damn Sports Show, I would say things, and they would just think, oh, my God, this guy really got hit in the head a lot. I was mentioning certain things about referees and games and all. They were like, oh, Simone, don't do that. You know, we're trying. And then a referee comes out with a book, and they looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, dog, I was in entertainment. I know what it is. And I can tell some guys wasn't doing their job. They were doing something for their job. You could just tell, like, oh, you didn't see that? And it would run into, who, you know, so you would question it. but you keep moving because you win and you lose. Then they brought in instant replay. That can't talk to a referee now. If it's on the film and they see it in New York, they make the call as a unit because that's how important it is. That's how crazy it has become. When I look at these squads and I look at Carmelo and I look at the reasons he's let go, one, he run into his personal life with his wife and all the other stuff that happens in life, and to be at that level, I don't know how people can handle that. And if you can, your mental health is really your health. So I think to calm down, him coming here, because he lives here in the summertime, him being with his friends since they came into the league together, him playing on the Olympic teams with him being in this warm weather, being revered, I think Carmelo would come here and, he doesn't need to play for money. And when you don't play for money, you play for fun, you play better.
He's already rich. He's been rich.
Yeah, so, and I think when you play better and you feel better, it can go back to playing for fun. I think he still should be a Laker. And I think if he's in shape, they better stack him on the squad.
Well, Kendrick Perkins said that LeBron actually wanted Carmelo for the Cavs, but the front office said no.
That'd probably be smart too. That would have been a hell of a team.
Yeah. I mean, Carmelo said that, he never won an NBA title because he just never had the team.
Right. It takes a team.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the Knicks pretty much holding the whole team together.
And when he was vegan for 2 weeks, it was his best 2 weeks as a Knick. I just thought I'd mention that.
Right.
He was going to argue it, but he was in better shape and alive.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen A. Smith said that he doesn't deserve a farewell tour.
Okay, so there's no such thing as deserve. And Stephen A. Smith is a Knick fan, and so he's going to be angry for the rest of his life because they're not going to win ever again. And this is another thing. Not only am I a bad boy, I grew up in Brooklyn, not a Knick fan. So I was a Celtic fan.
Okay,
and,
this is way before the Nets.
And I was a Net fan because I'm a doctor. I found, I think, my Dr. J poster in the net with his afro and biting his lip. I still got that poster. So wherever Dr. J was, and I just like the green and white. I just always liked the winners. I was never a Knick fan. So, but Stephen A. White, a diehard Knick fan, Carmelo did a lot for the Knicks, but he's a New Yorker.
Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith did, but he's a New Yorker. And, New Yorkers are, they're funky, man. New Yorkers are funky. They're funky about their squad. But I say this, if Carmelo is on this squad, and especially where he is mentally right now, the Lakers might have a chance of beating the Clippers. Small chance, but they might have a chance.
Boogie Cousins.
Oh, man.
Is having the worst month ever.
I feel so sorry for Boogie.
I mean, first he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
A massive injury that some people never recover from.
Right. Especially the worst basketball injury you could have.
And then to put the cherry on top, his baby mother records him threatening to shoot her in the head. And puts it out. Because I think it was something like he was getting married and he wanted his child at his wedding, and his baby mother didn't want, it was basically just being petty, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So she was taping it, and she knew she was antagonizing him. Mm-hmm. And she knew that he would say whatever is going to be outrageous. She knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's premeditated.
Yeah, man. Women are some of the most evil creatures on the planet if you piss them
scorn.
off. Oh, my God.
Hey,
men ain't got shit on an angry woman.
There was a book I read one time called The Bible, and they talked about this thing, a woman scorned. And, it has so many different attributes about human behavior. You should read this book. It's pretty good.
I've heard about it.
It's pretty good.
With the beat,
some
right?
parts,
Yeah.
but like you can leave the middle part out because what do you need to know about the Philistines? I don't know. But there's some parts in this book that are some good life lessons, and a woman's scorn is spoken about in this book. This is the craziest thing, and it's because I changed my way and I understand words. I'm really particular about the way I use them. They cast spells. I know it. They just on Instagram and all, but it's a true statement. They cast spells. He cast a spell on himself that was very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you the big takeaway I got from the Nipsey Hussle murder is the realization that when I am speaking to someone who looks up to me, in whatever regard it is, position, power, whatever, money, whatever, you have to be very careful the way you answer that person, because anything deemed as an insult or a slight is extremely magnified when that person is looking up to you.
Yeah, it is, because you're from a position of judgment.
Yes. Yeah. You know, I mean, Nipsey calling Eric a snitch. If that was just one of his little homies doing that, he probably wouldn't have cared less. But it was a Nipsey Hussle saying that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And, you know, and just to kind of make it full circle into the Boogie Cousins situation, like, yeah, like you just cannot say shit like this.
Right.
Like,
and
it doesn't matter how much someone pushes you.
I had the same situation.
You had the same situation.
I'm marrying my wife. My daughter is now 5 years old. The summertime she's with her mother. I have her.
This is your daughter from a previous relationship.
My daughter from my first daughter, Giovanna, the apple of my eye, and they know that too. They know you're male. My first daughter, Giovanna, and people, oh, well, Tyler's with you, and Taya, everybody that knows me is Giovanna. So it was me and Giovanna. Okay, so she knows the summertime is coming. And she goes back to her mother. I'm being married July 31st, right in the middle of the time she's back with her mom. The convincing of letting her come to the wedding was, I had to use my cousin Sabrina, my mother. I don't know. Vanessa is great with her, but that was her time. Vanessa could have said, nah, it's my time with her. Get another daughter to do it. And the words that Boogie used probably would have come out of my mouth.
You would have set up, I'm going to shoot you in your head or whatever.
Man, you're in this position when they're holding the apple to your eye and they have control over your seed. I don't say what he said, I'm not condoning it, but boy, I do understand it. Chris Rock said, I don't believe in hitting women, but I will shake their no. But I you know, in jokes. Yeah. But in that situation, if Giovanna hadn't been a part of me marrying Natasha, it would have really, I just watched it the other day, it would hurt. It would hurt.
You know, Marcellus in our interview talked about how he carried a gun everywhere at one point, even into the locker room.
I started carrying a gun when I got drafted. So I got drafted in April '97, and I had a homeboy, Potato, shout out to Tony, who got jacked, unfortunately, in front of his house. And he had a standard Yukon. I think he had some rims on it, but not too tricked out, not too crazy. And we were at the gas station the first time he brought it up, and he told me, I was like, dang, for real? And then he was like, so what you gonna do? I was like, what you mean what I'm gonna do? He said, man, you about to go to Buffalo. You about to be out there. You don't know anybody. And you got way more money and gonna have way more stuff than me by yourself. You better get a gun, protect yourself. Now he's going through his own trauma, and now he's trying to, you know, guide me through it. And I'm like, nah, I don't do guns. I never played with guns. My dad wouldn't let me play with even a water gun, anything. So he planted a seed, but I was like, nah, I'm good. I guess a couple weeks later, I go back to Buffalo, come back, and I'm like, he got a little point here. I'm in this big old townhouse and it's echoing and there's no one there but me. And I'm like, people could find out real quick, real fast where I'm at. So then I got one my rookie year, that summer before my rookie year. And I had a little 380 and I kept it in this little wallet. And it looked like a wallet, and I would take it everywhere, every meeting, to our home games, not our road games. I ain't go that far because we had security in part with us, to the club, to the bar, with no intent to shoot anybody, no intent to be hard, a gangster, just the intent to be like, if you ever mess with me and cross that line, and for me, that line is right here. I ain't like fake bravado. You really cross that line, I'm ready.
I still do. I didn't bring it in here. But yeah, I have a concealed weapon license.
Oh, you have a concealed weapon license?
Yeah, I roll solo in a $125,000 car, and I laugh and I giggle and I'm funny, and you know what I'm saying, and I'm light. Some cats where I'm from would see that as weak.
Gotcha.
Right.
Well, Sebastian Telfair.
Yeah.
You heard about the situation?
No, but I know Sebastian Telfair.
He was sentenced to 3.5 years.
Really?
For gun possession.
Without a license.
And lost it in court. Like, I mean, just exploded when he heard the sentencing.
Crying?
I can play it for you. Hold on.
Play the video recorded of y'all hearing that she lied on me. And she said, I lied, Sebastian. I told my lawyer. He knows I lied. I'm going to call him to see what I can do. And y'all still let her come up there and tell the jury she seen me with a gun. And they hand y'all a book just like this of her medical files. You know, people like just throw that out sometimes. Oh, this one's crazy. This one's crazy. No, that girl's crazy. Medical, and I'm sorry, I don't want.
And then he goes on and on. 3.5 years.
And Zimmerman is walking around.
Yeah. Yeah, and he actually killed somebody.
He actually killed somebody.
Florida man strikes. That's Florida. I feel like the laws of physics don't apply in the state of Florida. It's some weird quasi-bizarro dimension.
Yeah, 3 years. I mean.
3.5 years.
Oh, what Plexico get for shooting himself?
Like 2 years, I think.
What is happening?
Yeah. I mean, what's his name? Gilbert Arenas. He actually pulled out a gun on his teammate.
I talked to Gilbert Arenas the other day. We never had a conversation about Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas was, I think, of the third time I had a full conversation with him, one of the smartest NBA players I ever talked to. And that's why and it had to be a flip, because he's one of the smartest dudes I've ever talked to.
Well, he walked away with the most amount of money I think the NBA ever
Yeah.
paid someone not to play.
Yeah, they paid him not to play. He was about to be the star for Adidas.
Yeah.
And he walks away and quadruples his money now. He's thousands of acres of hemp. Not cannabis. He got out of the cannabis game because he couldn't do anything with his, and got in the hemp game and got all the licenses before the CBD thing kicked in. Now CBD is huge. Yeah. Right. He said, I'm making more money making hemp, selling hemp, than I was when I had 3 dispensaries. And he had 3 dispensaries.
I heard about
this
that.
This dude is no joke. And he's pretty good on camera.
Right. And then remember the guy that he got into it with ends up killing a woman on accident.
On accident.
Yeah, it was like, I think he ended up joining the Crips at one point after joining the NBA, and then somebody had robbed him, and he went to go shoot the dude that he thought robbed him, and ended up killing a woman. And now I believe he's got life in prison. Wow. Or he's at 30 years or something crazy.
3 years for a weapon.
Yeah. He actually quoted Tupac in court. He said, they're going to give you everything you need to destroy yourself.
Yeah. He
said, please don't take me from society right now. I'm 34. I can go play in China for another 6 years, take care of my family.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of unfair. It's so funny when things say, hey, it's the law, but there's so many unfair laws out there.
Yeah. But you carry a gun everywhere.
I'm a NRA card carrying, true-blooded American.
Yeehaw!
I am a concealed weapons license holder, which I'm going to make sure when I get out of here. Just because when you mention things like that, and I took my daughter's shooting, and she put it down. I was like, I don't like it. And I go, well, you have to learn to shoot. It's just like you got to learn to drive. You have to learn to shoot. And she goes, that's such a bad idea. Then I said, yeah, but you're going to be better off knowing how to do something and not being afraid of it, facing fear, not being afraid to hold a pistol. My wife got her concealed weapons license in Miami, and I couldn't get one in Miami.
Yeah, you can't transfer that to
right.
California.
But I couldn't get one in Miami. When I got into, I was in some kind of money business here, I was able to get one. I'm going to go back and check and see.
Okay.
But my wife carried it too. But she's from Detroit, so they all carry guns.
You played with Gary Payton?
No.
You never played with Gary Payton?
No. I worked on television with Gary Payton.
Oh, okay. You worked on TV with Gary Payton. Jalen Rose said that. Well, have you ever played against Gary Payton?
Yeah. I was on the Bulls. I didn't play that much. Well, I did play, but not that much. I played against him. I thought he was the best. I didn't know who he was when he came in the NBA. Let me tell you that, because I don't watch college, especially when I was in the pros. No reason. I hated watching film, so I really didn't want to watch it. So he came in the NBA and was loud from rookie year on.
Well, Jalen Rose said that he was the most hostile and angry trash talker he had ever encountered, and he would fight you.
GP is like an older brother to me. So there was a time at Michigan, even getting a chance to play in the Pacific Northwest, getting a chance to meet him and going to one of their games when I was in college. I always idolized the fact that he was a big guard. He's on the cover of Sports Illustrated when I was young, about trash talking. I wanted to model myself after that. And so on the floor, of course, he's going to have a level of confidence. And now that I've seen the commercial with Mr. Mean and I got a little bit older, got a chance to meet him and understand where Gary's from, I understand why he had that level of toughness. But also, a lot of the things that he said would be usually things that you only heard in the alley or in street ball.
What was like the worst thing? What was the worst thing Gary Payton said to you in a game?
Well, the crazy thing is we got along. And so we were playing against them in Europe. I had just got to Indy. This was like 1996. I got traded there in the offseason. And just so happened we were on a European tour and played against Seattle 2 straight games. And all I know is this. This dude out there cussing at me like he ain't never seen me before in life. Like, I was just with him. I was just with him, Vlad, like 10 hours ago, having drinks. This dude like, you mother... I'm like, okay.
It's a strategy.
I'm like, got it.
He's trying to get you
Got it.
Trying to get you off your game.
Got it. And he's a player also. Think about it. So he's a future Hall of Famer. The strength of his game is defense and toughness. He talks a lot of trash and he's willing to fight you. Right?
Right.
What you gonna do with that?
What are you gonna do?
He's a hater.
He's a hater?
He will get it, and this is a true...
And it's funny.
Okay,
sorry to interrupt you real quick, but me and Gary have been talking about doing an interview. So when I did the interview with Jalen, I hit him up. I said, hey, we talked about you. What did you say? And I told him. He said, yeah. LOL. Like he's like, I'm not gonna deny that. Like,
but you wouldn't know if he really wanted to fight or not. So even like if you snapping, if you going back and forth and you joning with him, he's aggressive then too.
okay.
Yeah, but he's an aggressive. His father was the coach of them in Oakland. I just talked to B. Shaw about 2 weeks ago. He had a hip operation, and back then watching Gary, I said, "Who is this kid?" He was like 6'9". He said, 6'5". He said, "This dude is no joke." And from Oakland, I said, posting Isiah up. Y'all better get help on them. Y'all better get help on them. Hey, you can't guard me. I was like, who is this kid?
Why would you call him a hater?
Oh, well, I didn't mean it hater when he got on the game. What I mean, not like, oh man, that dude, he's the type get on, man, you ain't shit. I don't care what they said about you in the paper. You ain't that. He's that cat. But to the point where Gary will make you believe it. He make you believe he's telling the truth. Yeah, I won't bust your ass. Yeah, come back at me. He will make you feel this way. But he's the coolest dude in the world, and he can drink like a fish. So,
Well, you mentioned Charles Oakley.
yeah.
Right. Charles Oakley feels that he's gotten blackballed after that whole Madison Square Garden incident. Now, I could tell you, I had my one experience with Oakley was very negative. I was going to the Jordan party,
Yeah.
right, in New York, some years back. We were in the front. I'm on the list. My man, Reggie Saunders puts me on the list whenever I want to go and so forth. So, I'm on the list plus whoever. So he's walking in and I'm just walking in behind him. And he turns around and was like, "Oh, don't try to play me like that." And he literally puts his hand on me. He literally puts his hand on my chest. And I'm like,
God, this is a big ass hand.
it's a big ass hand. And I'm like, I'm still a man. I'm like, it's like, you're not, some real disrespectful. I'm not, I wasn't trying to somehow sneak in with him. I'm on the, I'm supposed to be there. I'm on the list. But it was so, disrespectful what he did. And it was like, damn, homie. You're really fucking with people you don't know.
You have to understand Oak, though.
Yeah, it was really it left such a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to this dude. Yeah. And it's like, you don't know me. I could have been some crazy motherfucker that just pulled out a gun. You don't know who you're fucking with right now. I'm not. I'm harmless. But I'm saying, you just disrespect a random stranger.
But this is the funniest thing. He's a non-New Yorker New Yorker. He has that New York asshole quality. Last week, he was in town. And he is still in shape. Still to this day, I don't like playing against him. I don't even like standing, because standing next to him, I think he's gonna elbow me. It's just who he is. But he's a good guy.
He used to rough up Jordan back in the day.
Right. And Michael was mad. Michael didn't understand why they traded Oak. And it's because they needed Cartwright, because Cartwright was a scoring big man.
Mm-hmm.
That means your big man can't double team. When you got Oak on the court, they didn't fear him in that point. So they feel they got a better situation when they got in Cartwright. And they were right. They won 3 championships.
Well, there you have it. Well, anyways, maybe at one point, me and him will talk. We'll do an interview.
Yeah.
We could talk about the situation,
Right.
laugh about it.
I'm going to give him your number. He going to be like, he going to call you and be like, Vlad, yeah, this old. I remember you, motherfucker. You was trying to get it. He'll say that. Well, when you going to have me on the show?
All right. Well, there you go. Let's set up an interview with Charles Oakley.
I hit up Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes is going to get back to you.
Okay.
I'm
All
telling
right.
you.
The Clippers. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George joined the Clippers.
Brilliant move.
I really thought Kawhi was going to stay with Toronto.
Really?
That really, yeah.
I didn't think it was. From what I heard, they offered him.
He did just win a championship, by the way.
Right. And so this is what he says. And I won one in San Antonio, or 2 in San Antonio. And I don't know how many he won in San Antonio. He was MVP of that. Then he was MVP of this in Toronto. So he got his chip, right? Got 2 or 3, whatever the amount. I don't keep up. And Toronto is a beautiful place to play.
Mm-hmm.
You still got to pay Revenue Canada and America. So whatever money they give you, 50% of it, right? Mm-hmm. But they offered him a home to pay his taxes. I think 3 virgins, like all kind of things to stay in with the Raptors. But the move to become a Clipper and to come back to Los Angeles, where he's from, and to get his boy, to get another dose, because the team is tight. And to get Doc Rivers on board, imagine what his jersey is going to sell for. Imagine all the things he gets come home. He's home. You play better when you're at home. He doesn't have to worry about the cold weather in Toronto, waiting on a flight to get into America, going through customs. He's on a private jet at home, flying back to his home spot, eating at the restaurants he likes to eat. So he's comfortable, and he's paid, and he got a chip on his shoulder because he can do it. I think Toronto had that team, and then they made two big changes. You take our superstar, we'll take yours. San Antonio didn't win. He wins the championship.
Okay. So based on these recent trades that have happened after our last interview, which teams do you think are most likely to win the NBA Finals 2020?
If I was a gambling man, which I'm not, even though I pay attention to everything that goes on in Vegas with the odds, he totally, in a way, he dismantled Golden State. He totally dismantled OKC. He got the Lakers looking at themselves like crazy. And he got the momentum. So the Clippers, God, I wish we can do this interview after 10 games and I can give you a total answer. But with the look of it, the Clippers are going to be in the Western Conference Finals. And I don't think Milwaukee has what it is to beat them right now. And that's the team coming out of the East. And New Jersey the Brooklyn Nets are not ready. They got Durant, but they're not ready. So I would, even though I don't like going along with ESPN and some of the analysts, and because I don't think that always makes a difference, I'm still thinking LeBron on any team is more chance of winning the championship than ever.
Okay, so you're saying the Lakers.
But the way the Clippers are put together. So it was with Doc Rivers, and Doc was like, I got guys, Sal, who will run through a brick wall without me asking for it. They stay healthy, I'm going to go Clippers.
So Clippers, and then who would be 2 and 3?
Lakers. And Milwaukee Bucks.
So you wouldn't put Golden State in that lineup. Why? Because Kevin Durant left?
Didn't they had a couple of trades. A couple of people left. I just remember
Boogie Cousins.
Yeah, but he didn't.
But you know,
yeah.
it's a bit of a non-factor right now.
I was with JaVale 2 weeks ago too.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Lakers.
Lakers.
To have Dwight, to have Anthony Davis, to have JaVale McGee, Rondo, Guzman, LeBron, a new attitude in the office, a new thought process. I'm going to go Lakers.
The whole top 50 rapper list was circulating for a while. Okay? So yesterday, I switched it up a little bit, and I actually hand wrote and posted my top 50 hip-hop groups of all time. If you were to pick your top 5 hip-hop groups of all time, and I know you're a hip-hop head through and through, who would they be?
Wu-Tang, Public Enemy, Treacherous 3+3, Slum Village, and
Detroit. Yeah.
Slum Village is amazing, and the Force MDs.
Wow.
Don't. I didn't want to drop my 50. That's why I was like, I'm not answering it, because I'm gonna have Coogee rapping Polo. Of course, I'm gonna have Heavy in there, but I'm gonna have Ja Rule the Damager. I'm gonna go.
These are not groups.
I know, but with my 50, Big Daddy Kane was my favorite rapper.
Period?
No, but KRS and...
Yeah. Well, I'll give you my top 5.
Yeah.
From 1 through 5. Number 1, NWA.
Oh, my God, I left NWA out.
I know, right? Number 2, Public Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Wu-Tang. Number 4, Outkast. Number 5, Cypress Hill.
Okay, let me do my 5 again.
You know, and before you do your 5, I'm going to give you 6 through 10.
6 through 10.
Because you're probably forgetting certain people.
Right. 6 through 10.
6, Beastie Boys. 7, Tribe Called Quest. 8, Mobb Deep. 9, Ghetto Boys. 10, Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Okay, I'm gonna go Outkast. I'm gonna go Outkast. That'll be 6. Now my brain is searching through my whole book. Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
Yep, they're on my list.
That's 7. Then I have NWA. Ghetto Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Little Brother. Little Brother,
Okay.
I might have to put up in the 6.
Okay. They just
Little
came
Brother.
Out, they just came out with a new album.
Yeah. Ninth Wonder.
Yep.
If
Yeah.
I text Ninth Wonder just to say what's up.
Yeah, that's a bad motherfucker right there on the beats.
And I know. I hit him up.
You know, the whole Rhapsody
Yeah.
project is dope. I'll give you my 11 through 20 now.
Okay.
Number 11, Run DMC. Number 12 is the Fugees. Number 13, UGK. 14, 3 6 Mafia. 15, Migos. 16, EPMD. 17, De La Soul. 18, Eric B. and Rakim. 19, Capone and Noriega. And 20, Brand Nubian.
Brand Nubians. De La Soul, I apologize if you wasn't in the 10. I smoked a little earlier. Because De La Soul, I don't even know what I was thinking by not having them there. But I knew I couldn't leave Pete Rock out. You don't do Heavy D and the Boys because Heavy D is a solo artist.
Pretty much. The boys are just backup dancers.
Right. Man, I know I haven't said Beastie Boys yet.
Yep. I'll keep going.
Yeah.
21, The Roots.
Oh my God, Black Thought. God, you should have asked me and before I came in because Black Thought is.
Yeah. 22, Gangstar.
Yeah, I loved.
23, The Dog Pound. 24, Boogie Down Productions.
Oh, so you're gonna consider Dave Nice in the group?
I see what you're saying. Boogie Down Productions is kind of just KRS.
Right.
So, but it's kind of like the group with the producer and everything
Right.
else like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of why I looked at it that way. 25, Salt and Pepper. 26, The 2 Live Crew. 27, Ray Shremmerd. 28, Black Star.
I want to start over.
29, Digital Underground.
See, man, the Digital Underground got in the way of me placing Slum Village with that record label because they felt Digital Underground was better, but Slum Village has my heart.
Number 30, 8 Ball and MJG.
Yeah,
I'm just going to run through the last 20 real quick.
yeah.
The Locks, The Clips, Goody Mob, West Side Connection,
Goody Mob.
Dipset, Run the Jewels, Hot Boys, MOP, G-Unit, Souls of Mischief, Naughty by Nature, Junior Mafia, The Far Side, The Alcoholics, Third Base, Das Effects, House of Pain, Pete Rock and CL Smooth, The East Siders, and at number 50, and I know you're going to appreciate this, Kid and Play.
Oh, you know what? You got my whole 50. I agree. I would rearrange them.
Yeah.
If you give me that 50, I would arrange them according to what it was. But I do appreciate that 50. But I am happy.
It was
to
a
say-
well thought out, historic 50 that spans.
because there's some rappers okay. I just reposted Daylight's. He put something out. I literally stopped and was writing down words and schemes to see what he was talking about. I haven't done that since I was 19 years old when I'm listening to things going, oh, he said, did he mean this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So his brain is so scattered and so California, but then so universal is a tough one to deal with.
Yeah, man.
My new favorite rapper, though.
Daylight?
Daylight,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
dope.
Daylight is.
He's been dope. We've been fucking with Daylight since the beginning.
I know. I liked him. I watched him on the show, and I thought he was weird and entertaining. And then I heard him rhyme, and I was like, he's dangerous.
Yeah, he's with TDE now.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right. John Salley, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always epic. Always classic.
That's right.
Congrats on everything you do.
Thank you, brother.
You know, congrats on Beyond Meat. Slipped a little bit in prices, but it's still in the 160.
We got chicken coming.
You're right. KFC.
I'm opening up a plant-based pizzeria here in California.
Oh, I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Dope. It's dope. That's what it's called, too. One in Atlanta now, and then the one here.
Okay.
And we open up Planet Health in Compton. I want you to check that. I just want you to shoot it.
I'm there.
Definitely.
I'm there. Until next time. Peace.
Deuces.